Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode of the weekly tech show. Uh, today we're just going to do some brief recap of news happening in April and also a pretty interesting AI Expo we just both attended this past week in Washington, D.C. Definitely a very interesting experience to see AI playing an important role, not just in the very narrowly defined tech industry, but also in more broad areas like defense and energy. Definitely eye-opening to me. Uh, yeah, let me first introduce my awesome co-host, Tracy. Tracy, how was your, I guess, April?
Yeah, I think it's already May, so
Yeah.
it's been a month since we met last time. I went to a couple of startup events at school and also in DC, and I'm currently preparing for my upcoming academic travel to Hawaii and also my summer internship. So pretty busy, but yes, I've seen a lot of interesting things.
Wow, nice. Definitely a very full and fun schedule here. Yeah, why don't we just dive right into the topics here? Yeah, I saw you shared a Washington Street Journal article on startup funding. Maybe could you just give us one or two sentences of summary first, and we can discuss then? Yeah.
Yeah, so I read this article several days ago. I think it was published on April 29th, about 10 days ago. And the idea is that currently AI startups have raised billions of dollars. If you read the news today, I think Mistral AI, so another open sourced large language model company, their evaluation is tripled to $6 billion compared to $2 billion last year. So this is crazy. And this article emphasized that a lot of startups, they don't really have much revenue. And so whether we are in a big bubble or not, I think it depends on the readers. They also cited several examples. Like there is a startup called Imbue. I'm not sure if you have heard about IMBUE. So the founder is pretty visionary and they want to build some intelligent agents, and it's like next generation computers. And they've raised a lot of money, uh, even from I mean, not founders, even from some important figures like Eric Schmidt, the Eric Schmidt we met in DC. Yeah, but
Wow.
they don't really have a business. So it's hard to say. And they also mentioned that one startup, I think it's called Cognition AI or Inflection AI. So the founders just left the startup and joined Microsoft.
Oh yeah, I heard about the news. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so bizarre. Like they literally become employees of Microsoft.
Yeah, I think this is a kind of a trend right now where you can see just a lot of like especially infra startups. Yeah, it seems like they just cannot keep up with like big players like uh mostly Microsoft and Meta. So yeah, they just start to like dissolve, I think, recently, a lot of the teams.
Okay, yeah, so I just sent you a link of the Imbue in the channel.
Mhm.
I read several tweets and listened several podcasts from that startup, and hopefully I can have a coffee with some employees from that startup when I come to Bay Area, because it seems to really have a big vision.
Wow, I'm looking at some of the demos they show on their website. Well, definitely very impressive. Yeah, we should definitely keep an eye on this company. Yeah, a similar one to this is Grok. I think we mentioned Grok a few times in previous episode, and yeah, this time at the DC conference. I don't know if you were at the session or not, but I just went to a 15-minute demo done by the CEO and founder himself. I believe his name is Johnson Ross. So yeah, it was literally just demo only where he talked to Grok. I would assume it's probably their most powerful model, GPT for run on their LPU, and he just keep talking to the AI for 15 minutes straight. Uh, which is kind of weird, but also very impressive because one thing I found out is just how quickly responding the uh, LPU driven AI is, where he can literally like interrupt the since it's a female talking voice, so I would say you'll interrupt her, the AI, like in the middle of the sentence, raise a new question, and the AI is able to usually come back with updated new answers within like fraction of seconds. Very impressive.
Well, but how about the answers quality? Are they as good as GPT-4 or Llama 3?
Uh, I would assume he's using probably just a very original version of GPT-4. I can tell from the actual content of the answers, they are still a little bit like superficial on the like surface level. And the funny thing is like I think he probably planned that as a joke, but yeah, towards the end he started asking about I think the question is like if the AI start to behave like I guess AGI and basically have the same capability as human beings, should humans be concerned or not? Should they start to treat them as humans or not? Yeah, I was probably like a bad paraphraser, but that was my idea. And the AI is pretty funny. Like she started just not answering the question straight, like started just talking some related topics, but not directly the answer. And Jonathan, the founder, he actually asked, just simply tell me yes or no, but the AI just wouldn't say at all. So
Oh no.
yeah, probably the Skynet has already arrived without our attention there.
Yeah, I guess because it does not want to hurt our feelings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it also reminds me of what I saw at a startup event in our school. So one of the companies called Learn Prompting. I'm not sure if you have heard about that. So I think it was built like last year when people want to learn how to prompt large language models. So the founder was an undergrad and he built a website collecting some techniques to write better prompts. And it turned out the website becomes pretty popular. And he claimed more than 2 million visitors have used his website. So they raised some small funding, perhaps $10,000, and they developed some prompt engineering courses and want to sell that to companies as training materials to teach their employees how to write better prompts and hopefully increase the productivity. So my question for him is like, do you think prompt engineering will go away in a few years? Because technically, the companies like OpenAI, they can just rewrite users' prompts and make it better. So it could be an automatic way. Users don't need to learn to design complex prompts. And can you guess his answers?
Hmm. Wow, it's hard to guess.
Or how will you answer this question if you are the founder of such a company?
Mhm. And what's the short form of the question again? Just to
Like, do you think prompt
yeah,
engineering will become irrelevant?
relevant.
Because companies like OpenAI, they can just use some built-in techniques to rewrite users' prompt. And the large language models will also get better.
Yeah, I think the prompt engineering in its like current form will probably, I feel like, fade out in like a 1 year or two, just because I feel like, well, first of all, all the large model providers, they are definitely basically tracking all the prompts we entered. So I feel like they're definitely doing something useful with all the prompts examples given by the users. So they're going to probably simplify the prompt process a lot by, for example, like because I've definitely seen some prompt examples where people would deliberately write like paragraphs with like different settings to get a certain result. But I feel like large language model providers, they're just going to provide a similar service themselves. So like the prompt engineering or prompt hacking its current form is probably going to disappear pretty soon. But I feel like those same group of users, since they are probably like way smarter and would love to, get their hands like dirtier than most like average users. So they're probably going to figure out more like special use cases, even with the evolution of large language model user interaction. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of similar, like every time we have this new set of technology, like starting with basic programming, then different, web frameworks, then now like AI is probably the similar group of people always like standing on like the top of the users or like frontiers there. So
I see. So are
that's
you
so probably there'll be a new form of like prompt engineering with like a new name probably next year. I feel like.
next year? Okay. Yeah, seems you are comparing those people who really want to devise their own prompts to people who want to assemble their computers, who want to
Yeah,
write code from the command line. Okay.
yeah, that was my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the points the founder mentioned is that imagine if the model becomes perfect, then what's the point of humans' existence?
Mhm.
So he thinks there is always a room for prompt engineering because humans may not express their ideas, the contextual information perfectly, or are not aware of the capabilities of large language models. But I feel the awareness is definitely increasing. Technically, any communication we conduct nowadays can be done by large language models.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's see. I will keep watching this company.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, just to build on what you just talked about, I think it was at a talk on second day of the AI Expo. You weren't there. I trying to
Oh
remember
yeah.
who exactly said that. Maybe it's Eric Schmidt himself. But since someone asked like when do you think like AGI will actually arrive? So he said like if you're just looking for AGI as like maybe a very capable like some kind of model that can kind of build on itself. Like he actually predicted it might happen in like 5 years, but he said like if you're looking for something that, for example, like a AGI with also physical control over a lot of things in the world, that probably won't happen very soon. So probably like a pure software form of AGI is going to happen within a couple of years. Feels like.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it also reminds me of a talk I attended last week. I think it's someone from Google DeepMind. So she's the director of human computer interaction. And she has a definition of those AGIs, like if the AI can achieve 99% of the performance level, I mean, the performance of the AI can beat 99% of the population, then we call this AGI or expert level. And she only mentioned AlphaFold in that category. It's very narrow since it can only predict those protein structures. But we have not seen a very general AI can do this 99% of the work for humans.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, so what is your definition? Like what is the percentage do you think an AI should achieve before you call it an AGI? And how many tasks?
我是史考特，目前担任美国上市企业执行业务总监，管理最高业绩团队，同时也是南美洲古老萨满仪式神圣草药的协办人，引导过上百位参加者体验灵性仪式。我的 podcast 叫做史考特给自己的笔记，是我分享一些对我最有用的概念。欢迎来听听看，有没有对你也有益处的资讯？请搜寻史考特给自己的笔记，或上网 golden-journeys.com。
Yeah, I think I have since I'm not like super into the let's just say like the infrastructure level or like the fundamental model level. So I will probably make like a observation as more on the user side. So we've seen this like evolution of, you know, be GPT-2 or GPT-3 start to write like decent, like understandable text, and at the same time we see like Midjourney making these like okay like images. So these I think happened around about 2 years ago, and then after about 1 year we have like even better, longer text processing. And I think Sora is from like OpenAI. Well, we don't have an exact answer from them. It seems like they've been able to use some 3D model generation in their models to create those videos. And I've also heard updates from the Midjourney provider that they are working on a 3D version of the Midjourney and probably going to be released. I don't know how soon, but probably within a year. So I feel like we're very close, like probably within 2 years, to get a fully functioning model or like a combination of those two. Basically, if you put a prompt there, it will write the script, like generate all the 3D models, and probably take like a videos of those, create like a full movie, a decent movie for you. So I feel like that's probably like at least almost 99% of the stuff I wanted it to do. So I feel like just for me personally, like this like I guess semi AGI is going to happen. Let's see, 2 years from now, so probably like 2026, 7.
You mean as a content creator, we need to create videos, images, and scripts, and the AI can already do most of the work.
Yeah, I feel like if they can create like a pretty persuasive like a video or like a short movie of actual, you know, humans, that would be like more than good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to attend a workshop at Kai. It's about writing assistant. And I think one of the organizers is from Midjourney. So he's a research scientist at the storytelling team at Midjourney. So I will try to talk to him and see what they're doing with storytelling, because I've used Midjourney before, and it seems it only gives you pictures. It does not give you stories, right? If you want stories, you need to write in ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I think I've used another product. I'll try to find the name and put it in the show notes and also send it to you. It's I think it's probably built on either Midjourney like model or maybe another image model, but it can write a graphic novel for you. So it's probably like calling both the text model and the image generation model at the same time. So I guess this also relates to back when I talk about like prompt engineering. So I feel like, yeah, a lot of these people, like if they are given the models, they can always just do like one extra steps to build on those. So very impressive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that. So the users just need to make several choices, and then the story will continue. It makes writing stories much easier.
Yeah.
You're like playing a game instead of doing the writing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Yeah, we've I think covered a lot about the Expo and the AI industry. Yeah, why don't we then come back to this interesting topic, also shared by Tracy here. So it's called Machine Unlearning in 2024. It's a blog post written by I think Ken. Is he a Stanford CS PhD? Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
I briefly read this, but obviously I didn't study machine learning, so maybe could you just give some simple context here first?
okay. Yeah, so as we know, large language models are trained on the internet scale data. However, in some use cases, we may not want it to remember some data. For example, New York Times versus OpenAI. I think New York Times definitely want to get compensated for their copyrights, or they want their data to be removed from the model. But how can you remove the data from the model? Because those data, they contribute to the model's weights and biases. So it's very hard to untangle them. Like it's very different from deleting your Facebook account, because if you delete the social media accounts, then they are gone. But if they're used to train some machine learning models, those models may have memories of some knowledges, and those memories are in numbers, so you don't know where they are. So how can we develop models to unlearn those things? I think this may become a hot topic in the future, because imagine some machine learning models, they learn some confidential stuff or harmful content or just people's privacies, and we want to let it forget. So can you imagine how can we let the models forget?
So I don't have an immediate answer to how to make the model forget, but I've heard example from the AI Expo where I think the US government, I can't remember which division, maybe the whole government, they just implemented a GPT-4. It's probably like physically like isolated in the computer network from everyone else. So
Oh, that's
I
from
guess,
Microsoft. Yeah, I was
yeah,
also at the talk. Yeah, that really shocked me. Like it's a selling point because of the isolation.
yeah, I guess that's how, like, even if it reads all the, like, classified documents from the government, it's still fine. They don't need to, the model doesn't need to forget anything because it's like physically protected. But yeah, to answer a question, like, how would I make the model or like the trained data forget the training data? Like, I don't know, is it like similar to like noise cancellation? You just give the exact opposite parameters, or
Yeah, actually what you mentioned is one of the techniques.
okay.
You can just present some wrong examples and tell the model as if it's ground truth, and then it will cancel out some knowledge. Or you can just ask some smart models like GPT-4, ask it to pretend it does not learn from that. So I think those ones are like in context unlearning or pretend unlearning. So still not really change the model. The model still has the data, but just it does not show to the users. Perhaps it'll be enough for this copyright information. So imagine if I'm asking for an article behind New York Times paywall and the GPT refused to answer that. I think that should be good enough. Yeah,
I
but
see.
if you're a machine learning researcher, you may also want to train some models. And really get rid of the weights and bias. So imagine we create a fake data set with all those fake names. So imagine we create like 100 Wikipedia pages of fake people and make a model learn on it. And then we somehow optimize this model on another data set, or somehow change the weights and bias drastically. And then we test the model again on the fake data set. If it can answer questions correctly on the fake data set, it means it does not forget those knowledge.
Okay, I see. Wow, that's definitely a very smart technique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
an indicator.
well, yeah, at least the good thing now is we have all these like AI companions. So I think what I'm going to do is just put this like 41-minute read blog post by him just into the AI interpreter, just to let the AI like process it for me. Yeah, because I'm still struggling to understand this blog post here. It's pretty complicated for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to read those numbers. You just
Yeah.
need to read those examples. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of it, like, have you recently tried like maybe reading some of the articles, or I don't know, like research articles through like AI companions? Because I've found them to be pretty useful, not maybe exactly understanding the actual science object, but just like summarizing it based on text. Yeah.
So I usually read academic papers, and in that case, they can just read the abstract and then look at those figures. So that should be enough. But sometimes I do ask AI questions in the PDF. But sometimes it's very long and I need to locate the paragraph, or sometimes I'm just unsure about my understanding. So I ask it. I'm currently using a software called ReadCube. So it's a paper management tool, and it recently introduced its AI feature, so you can ask questions about the PDFs. Actually, I think Adobe Acrobat is also having the Q&A features now, but I have not tried that because all my papers are in this library, so it's easier to just ask questions there.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, speaking of that, just to build on what you said, and maybe this could be also a kind of a challenge task for us, especially for maybe next meeting in June for newer episodes. I feel like we probably need to keep track of all the big companies, like what they're doing with AIs. Because yeah, remember like at the AI Expo, we saw the collaboration between Meta and RayBan, where they have the smart AI glasses. It's not like a completely innovative idea, but I guess how well it is built is still very impressive to me. Like especially they used Llama 2, I think it's Llama 2 model, which is more than good enough. Definitely like beats the Siri from Apple right now. So yeah, I'm interested to see like what Apple or Google can offer, especially on their mobile devices. Because from the most like recent news just a few days ago, yeah, it seems like Apple just kind of stops like innovating. Like the newer iPads are just like bigger iPads with thinner
iPads.
bezels. Yeah, the seems like they're not doing much on the software side. So yeah, I guess for the next month, I'll be also just going through all these like big tech companies to see what they've been doing with AI recently.
Have you considered buying a Rabbit R1?
Oh, the Rabbit R1, that's a fun story. You probably heard about the tech reviewer, like
Yeah, it's horrible. I watched both videos, Rabbit R1 and Human Pain by MKBHD, and
yep.
it's so funny.
Yeah, this reminds me of like all the tech products they released on like Kickstarter. Like I would say probably like 99% of them like fail their like promised description or like specifications. So yeah, it's really hard to find something that actually delivers on its promise. Yeah, maybe that's like one good thing with all the like big companies like Apple, even if they don't make like big jumps in their like development, at least they can usually deliver like what they promised. Yeah.
Yeah, at least it's a functional iPad.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Yeah, I think it's about time for our April recap. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning again to our episode. Yeah, and for the next few ones, I believe it will be probably more like almost like a cross like coastal episode recordings. So hopefully like Tracy can bring us some like exciting news from the California side. They definitely have like way more like technical innovations compared to like East Coast, especially like Washington DC here. So
yeah, I will be living in an Airbnb. Hopefully I can get good roommates so it won't be too noisy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
See you.
And looking forward to it. Yeah. See you
See
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.